Hey, Salvador Briggman here. Welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified YouTube channel. On this channel, we talk about everything crowdfunding, raising money, Kickstarter, Indiegogo, really how to get your project funded. And I think more importantly, kind of getting into the things that you need to do in order to get noticed, because Kickstarter is one part of the journey, right? But at the end of the day, you're trying to do something a little bit more. And I kind of want to talk about the day, specifically when it comes to tabletop games, because what we are seeing is insane. I want to get into that today. So let's get right to it. Let's get into today's video and talk a little bit about why this is a renaissance when it comes to tabletop games. It's coming up right now. Let me ask you a question. When do you believe the renaissance was for tabletop games? When is it that you think the best period was in order to launch one of these guys, in order to do a card game, in order to do a board game, to do a tabletop? When was the best period in time, in the history of time, to do this? Because my argument today is that right now is the renaissance for tabletop games, and here is why. Number one, looking at the stats, and I'm putting out some stats also, I did a YouTube video on this that should come out soon, and also did a podcast. It is growing year after year. I'm looking at it right now. 2019, 2,712 tabletop game projects launched. 2020, 3,161, and already in 2021, we had 1,833 that are launched. It's growing year after year after year. And here's the other killer, man. Back in 2012, let's take a look at 2012. 16 million raised in the tabletop game category. Take a second to guess how much was raised this past year. 2012, 16 million raised when I got into the crowdfunding industry. 2020, 241 million that was raised for tabletop games. And here's the kicker. Here is the kicker, my friend, because we can talk all about like numbers and throw out stats and all that kind of cool stuff. But I think that one of the most important things is success metrics, right? Success metrics. So when I got into the industry, my whole idea was like, how do we improve success metrics? How do we make people be more successful at what they're doing? And I quickly identified in 2012 that the number one thing that was holding most people back was just access to education and knowing how to do this. And that's really when I started to interview people. That's when I started to get into this industry. That's when I started to put up more content. I started with my blog, crowdcrux.com. You can check that out. Still publish content there. Got my podcast obviously available on iTunes, Spotify, do a YouTube channel, got a bunch of books out there to help people and guide people along the path. And to me, this is the missing piece of the puzzle. And the coolest thing is we're now starting to see a shift which is occurring. So take a second to think about this. In 2012, we had 431 successful projects that were launched, okay? And we had 441 that were unsuccessful. So it was about 50-50, right? That number is changing, and it's changing rapidly, my friend. There is a surge when it comes to this. So looking at 2020, we had 3,161 projects that were funded and 1,321 that were not funded. Think about that. Think about that change. So what does that mean? That means that about 75% of the projects that were launched in 2020 insanely actually met their funding goal. So I think that that's like phenomenal. It went from obviously 50% to 75%, which is huge, according to these statistics. So I don't want to go too much more into the stats because like I said, I have a YouTube video coming out on that. I have a podcast going out on that. But to me, this is an indication that not only is this growing, but it's accelerating. The number of projects and the success that we're seeing in the tabletop game category. So I am making an argument today. This could be one of the most important videos that you watch in your career if you're interested in becoming a creator in the tabletop game space or in the card game space or even the video game space, right? This could be one of the most important videos that you watch. And this is why. Every single day, everyone has amazing ideas. We all have these great ideas. Think of intricate gameplay. We think of ways to change out different styles of playing or thinking about new artwork for games. And what if I did a game in this kind of a genre? Why has that never been tried before? Oh, I'm sure someone else is going to think about that. No, that's not the case, man. You are the one to think of that, right? All the time we think, oh, I'm sure someone else has done that. I'm sure someone else has thought about that. I'm sure that someone else is someday going to execute upon that. What if that idea was for you? Take a second to think about that. What if that was your idea? What if you were meant to act upon that? What if it's put in front of you so that you can then bring something into the world that impacts thousands of people all over and brings joy into their life, and you're passing that up because you're just a little bit too uncertain or afraid? Now, I know I'm being a little bit hard, obviously, when I say that, but I think it kind of needs to be said, because if we think about the Renaissance, so much creativity and ideas and cool stuff that's happening. Dude, I love writing. I'm a huge patron of the arts. I love, I'm going to do this flamenco thing, seeing this concert in Miami, and I just love arts. I love being around the arts and creativity and graffiti and Wynwood, Miami here. It's incredible, right? I loved living in Brooklyn for so many years because of that reason. And I think we are seeing a renaissance in the tabletop game arena, because it is easier than ever before, my friend, to launch a tabletop game in terms of cost, production, understanding of how to do it. It's easy to also get access to a crowd of people that might be interested in playing that game. Getting in front of them, getting in front of that community is easier than ever before with social media, with paid marketing, with the ability to create content, put out blog posts, build newsletters, all the things that I teach in my book, The Kickstarter Launch Formula. I'd also obviously have a great free course on that. You can go to crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter, enter your name and email, and I'll start sending you some free videos on how to get up and running with a Kickstarter campaign. So to me, this is a no-nonsense version of the fact that, number one, easiest time to do it in terms of production. Number two, easiest time to do it in terms of social media, having access to crowds, niches, which you can never get access to before. And also, if you were trying to get into major board game stores, you need that distribution. You got to have a game that appeals to a lot of people. Now you can go right for the jugular, and you can go for those people that are insanely passionate in what you're doing. This is the realization of Kevin Kelly's 1,000 True Fans, which is that all you need is 1,000 people around the world that want to buy and support what you do to make a living from it, right? So you get access to the audience. You get access to that niche, that group of people that want this thing to exist in the world. And I think more importantly, you're then able to deliver on that, and they love it, they play it, and they can share it as well. So there are a lot of reasons why this renaissance is happening because of ease of access. Ease of access is definitely improving. The fact that, in general, it's easier to put out campaigns and to market them. There's more established ecosystem there. I think it's also when it comes to just, in general, you as a board game creator, if you know what you're doing, you can get something cool together. Other people like it and they want to share it naturally. There's a community around the tabletop game category for sure. And when you deliver on your promises, it says a lot about your brand. And also, the level of creativity is astounding. So I was listening, you gotta go and listen to my podcast, man. So I do my podcast, right? And I speak with people all over the world who are launching tabletop games and new products on Kickstarter. So it goes beyond, obviously, tabletop games, talk about physical products, talk about equity crowdfunding, talk about so many different things when it comes to crowdfunding, because I am the crowdfunding guy, right? But for you, I have talked with people around the world in different countries who are launching tabletop games. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the United States, okay? So you can actually gain access to audiences around the world now because of the internet. So you can be in a different location and you can tap into the US marketplace or vice versa, right? So that's just another reason why we are seeing this percolation of creativity, my friend. This is why it's happening. We're seeing all of these different forces kind of line up in order to create a renaissance and a growth in the tabletop game, independent game category. And also even bigger franchises and larger brands wanting to get into the mix. And here's what happens. Everyone's like, oh, that's horrible. Well, think about this. Kickstarter has done many studies, and one of the interesting studies that they did was that anytime there is a massive, really big project, right, it will always bring in new backers. And what do those backers do, my friend? They go and they start backing other projects. So it's actually good for you. When there's that saying that a rising tide will lift all of the boats or all of the ships, right? And that's exactly what happens when we have these mega successes with Kickstarter And the same thing happened back in 2012, 2010, 2011 with those early successes when they started to bring in hordes of backers. And same thing happened, ironically, in every other platform I've studied in this industry. Like, for example, with GoFundMe, it's because they had those early big success stories that they started to actually build a community on that site. Same thing with WeFunder. WeFunder equity crowdfunding site, I'm starting to cover way more now because I've seen the way that the community is beginning to grow there as well. So this is what I do for a living. I know it sounds crazy, right? This is what I do for a living. I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky to be able to watch this and study this and do these different things. But the reason why this is the most important video that you will watch this year is that this is the easiest time to get started. You have everything at your disposal. You have the wind at your back. The wind is in your sails, man. You're going down this channel, right? It's easy to embark on this expedition. And that's exactly what it is. Are you one of those people who, you're back in the olden days when America, we'll just use America as an example. I love other different countries, honestly. I've been all around the world. I've been to Cambodia, been to a lot of countries in Southeast Asia. I've been to Europe. I've been to South America. I'm actually adopted from El Salvador, right? I've been all over the world, man, and I love different countries. And like, America is one country, right, around the world. But we'll just use America as an example. If you were the early settler and you knew there was opportunity west, would you be the type of person to pack up your bags and to explore and to really try to settle new towns and do new stuff and really just kind of go and look for adventure? Are you that type of person? Or would you just be staying at home, hoping that the elements aren't going to get to you and just kind of living that daily life and not really doing anything, just kind of being miserable? I'm not that type of person, man. I want to expand. I want to grow. I want to pursue opportunity, right? And I know that you want the same thing. You wouldn't, otherwise, you're not watching this channel. You're not watching this video. You're just tuning out, watching some Netflix or just chilling, right? You're not really doing anything with your life. So to be able to do this game, to be able to create something on your own is a luxury. It is a luxury, right? You think about the developing world, they don't have that luxury, This is a luxury. So the reward doesn't come from financially being successful. I mean, it's great. Don't get me wrong. Great to be financially successful. I would never have it any other way. And I think it's great because it allows you to then have more say and control over your life. You can do what you want. You can put out the type of content you want. You put out the types of games that you want. You can have people working for you. You can develop an ecosystem that supports your life versus you trying to plug into this corporate machine that doesn't really care about you whatsoever. It is so important to be a business owner, in my opinion, for someone who really does value their time, wants a say in their universe, and also wants to make an impact on the world, right? And financially, it makes a lot of sense. But when it comes to it, I think there's something deeper, okay? And this is the real reason why you need to create a game. The reason is that if you think about it, the times in your life when you've really felt connected to other people and you're laughing, you're joking, you're having a good time, you're looking back on those memories you played, Monopoly or Scrabble or whatever games you like to play. I like to play Dungeons and Dragons because I was a nerd when I was in high school, right? I think back to those games with just such joy and fun times that I had with my friends. And we are lost as a society nowadays. We're on our phones, right? We're just browsing our phones. We're just doing things at home. We're so solitary. We need games to unite us. It's a way to bring people together. So while it's cool that someone around the world can play your game and you can make money from that and you can be in another part of the country and you can be living that lifestyle, at the same time, what's even cooler is the fact that you're bringing together communities of people and they're having shared fun experiences around what you have created, okay? And if you say no, if you don't push forward and do this, you are denying them those positive experiences. And what's more, you're denying yourself the ability to feel like I've raised the standard for my life. I'm capable of more than I thought I was, right? You are denying yourself that. No one else is, okay? So the biggest thing that you have to get over is the belief that you can't do this. Now, I have worked tirelessly to try to convince people that they can. And that's why I put out my podcast. So number one, go start just binge listening to my podcast. Go on iTunes, crowdcrux.com/iTunes. Watch the one on this YouTube channel. Listen on Spotify. I think it's crowdcrux.com/Spotify. We got to double check that one. go and listen to my show, just plug into it and listen to these success stories, because I've had people on who were working in the film business and then launched a game, who were working in a completely different industry and then launched a game, and they were successful. So you can do it. I've had people on who have launched 10 plus Kickstarter campaigns. I think the record that I've had on was a guy who launched over 21 games on Kickstarter. So this is a lifelong career, and you can always come back to it. And you can also continue to pursue it and come out with new stuff, right? So for you, if what is holding you back you feel is like you can't do it, that 100% definitively is wrong. Number two, if you believe that your game doesn't have an audience, I think that has merit, that idea. Maybe you need to do some investigation, but at a certain point in time, you're gonna have to make that judgment and you're gonna have to take that risk. And every game has a niche, Some of the really wacky offbeat niches are actually the ones that do the best, right? And even when it comes to other styles of game, I don't know if you think of tarot as like a game, right? But so many successful tarot cards, projects and these kinds of things. So there's something out there for everyone. And I think for you, the most important thing is to figure out what is holding you back. And if you believe that there is something tangible that's holding you back that goes beyond what I can teach you here on YouTube or what I can teach you with my book, the Kickstarter Launch Formula, or my free course, crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter, or anything when it comes to my podcast, book a coaching call with me. That is what these are designed to do, is to get you over that hump, is so that you can start taking action and get serious about this. And I know that it's not always fun to turn like our hobby into something that is serious, right? But I think it's something that's needed if you want other people to take it seriously, right? So the reason why I was making this video is that I've been speaking with a lot of creators recently who are like, I don't know, Sal, if I can do that. I have to come up with the gameplay. I gotta try it out. I don't know how I'm gonna do the artwork. And there are answers for all of these questions. Other people have gone through and solved these problems. And when I get to the root of it, it's more of they're not sure if they can do it. And that's what I made this video for, is that you absolutely can. And once more, this is the best time to do it. Want to take all the stress out of fulfilling your Kickstarter rewards? Fulfillment is the turnkey solution that puts product delivery on autopilot. The Top Campaigns uses trusted high-tech provider to store, package, and ship their products. Focus on growing your business. Leave shipping to the experts. Don't wait. Get a custom quote from Fulfillment today. Link in the description. So you gotta take action, my friends. Hope that you enjoyed this video. Give me a thumbs up if you did, if you like this a little bit more inspirational kind of take of a video. And come subscribe to this channel for more content just like this. Leave a comment down below. Also, I got a mastermind community as well that's been growing, that I put out content regularly on, and also includes coaching calls with me. You can check that out at crowdcrux.com/mastermind. I'm actually doing a lot more content as well on tabletop games and kind of the formula that goes into launching a successful one. The whole system that I've documented. So the mastermind is cool for that reason. But that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video and it gave you a little bit of that nudge, and go and look into some of these stats, because this is gonna blow your mind, my friend. And I guarantee you're gonna look back and you're gonna be like, why did I not participate in the Renaissance?